The first epistle of Paul, the apostle to the Corinthians, chapter 9. I'm just going to mention two places here in Paul speaking. And they're in Romans, and there's a lot more than these two things, but I need to bring them up in case anybody wants to say anything about it, because he's throwing the law away. I'm going to show you how. Chapter 3, verse 28, he says, "Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law." And then chapter 6, 14, he goes, "For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace." So anybody wants to talk about that? That'd be great. Chapter 9, am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Jesus Christ our Lord? Are not ye my work in the Lord? If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. For the seal of mine apostleship are ye in the Lord. My answer to them that do examine me is this. Okay. Have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the Lord and Cephas? Or I only and Barnabas, have not we power and forbear working, who goeth a warfare any time at his own charges? Who planteth a vineyard and eateth not of the fruit thereof? Or who feedeth a flock and eateth not of the milk of the flock? But say I these things as a man? Or saith not the law the same also? Oh, does he really want to go there? For it is written in the law of Moses. Oh, now don't throw out the law, keep the law. Don't throw out the law, keep the law. Don't throw out the law, throw it out, keep it. Throw it out, keep it. What is going on with this guy? For it is written in the law of Moses, thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn. Doth God take care for oxen? Yeah, that was a really important one during COVID, right? You don't, the ox is breathing. It needs to breathe while it's working. And he's saying, do you put a muzzle on the mouth of an ox that's working? And that's what they're doing. They're doing that to athletes. They're doing that to people that are using their body for work, right? You're putting a mask on them, like little gymnasts and stuff, or runners or whatever. You can put a mask on them. These are athletes. They're using their body for the Lord, for the glorification of God. They're made in His image, and you're talking about animals, not much less people. Do you see what they did during that COVID? They put masks on people. This is my COVID verse right there. Yeah. I mean, this guy says good things, but as far as I don't like the mixed messages he's sending, and yes, he is sending them. I just showed you how. Yeah, he says a lot of nice things. Like, that's a great thing to say. Thank you. Or saith he is altogether for our sakes. For our sakes, no doubt, this is written that he that ploweth should plow in hope, and he that thresheth in hope should be partaker of this hope. If we have sown unto you spiritual things, it is a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things. If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of Christ. Do ye not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple? And they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar. Even so hath the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. Yeah, that makes sense, but I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glorying void. God, what is this guy? For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. For necessity is laid upon me, yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. Oh, so it's a personal issue. Woe is unto him. For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me, what is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. Okay. It would be, a good way to do that is to stick with one thing and not give mixed messages. Go ahead, somebody explain it to me. Explain it to me then. All I have to say is thank goodness this is not Christ Almighty talking, because, we wouldn't have hope. He makes no mistakes. He's only about his Father's business. This guy, he's saying, don't let me abuse my power in the gospel, but I've just shown 2 examples of you throwing out the law back in Romans, and that's just 2. There's a lot more than that. Let me know how am I wrong. So it's okay. Like, he can be making a mistake, but I don't know what this is trying to show. I believe the good words he's saying are directed by the Holy Spirit, and the rest of this, he's talking about throwing out the law. I think, I don't know. Explain it to me, somebody. I haven't read any things about it. Why is this so? I'm not going to. Why doesn't somebody help me? No, I'm not going to. This is ridiculous. Yeah, because it keeps on going on. I don't think people realize what's going on. I certainly didn't. This is all written by this guy, Paul. It goes Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then it goes Acts, and nobody knows who wrote Acts, right? But it's pretty good, the Acts. But this, the epistle of Paul, the apostle to the Romans, he throws the law away. Explain to me that he doesn't. Go ahead, do it. Then there's the first epistle of Paul, the apostle to the Corinthians, right? And then we get into Corinthians 2. And then we go, the epistle of Paul, the apostle to the Ephesians. The second epistle of Paul, the apostle to Timothy. And then we go back, the first epistle of Paul to the apostle of Timothy, the second epistle of Paul, the apostle to Thessalonians. This is all written by this guy. The epistle of Paul, the apostle to the Philippians. So, yeah, if I'm already having a problem, I'm speaking up and I'm saying exactly what my problem is. And there it is. I'm not going to say it without proof. There it is. There's 2 things that make no sense. I said them in the beginning. Let's see what else he has to say. Look, he doesn't write Revelations, right? And then it's more. Oh, thank gosh. It's the second epistle of John. The third epistle of John. And then there's some Peter. Oh, don't tell me okay, the epistle to the Hebrews. Who wrote that? The epistle of Paul to Titus. The epistle of Paul to Philemon. He wrote that one to the Hebrews too. Why'd they leave his name out? Maybe they didn't. I don't think he wrote Revelations. It's John. Yeah, it's John. But you know what? He wrote everything else. And if I don't understand it, I'm speaking up. Trying to get help from anybody. This guy. For though I be free from all men, yet if I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. Okay, is he admitting this? That confusion. He became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. What are you going to do with the law once you gain them? To them that are without law, as without law, being not without law to God, but under the law to Christ, that I might gain them which are without law. To the weak, because to the weak became I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men. Okay. I'm every woman. It's all. He should start that. They should play that right now. That I might by all means and save some. Well, and this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. I don't even know why they're allowing this guy to write this. The only thing I can ascertain is that he was a Pharisee. He was from the strictest sect of Judaism. He was a Pharisee. And so he can write and he can understand. Why has he been given this job? Other than that. Like, and I told him on my show last night, I go, what's going on? I can't deal with this anymore. This Paul. And I go, he's unclear. And my people go, no, he's clear. Okay, let me show you what's clear. That's clear. And they tell me to write the boss man. Oh. I think that they'll try to help me by talking about it. But this is just, it's, like, I was fine. Now I'm having, the whole Bible is okay, but it was great. That book of Job, no. This, I don't like these mixed messages. At least in Job, it just sounded like some guy just complaining at all costs. No wonder you can't understand him. He's so upset. Whatever. This guy, though, this is another thing altogether. I really don't know why they're allowing him to write this. He says a few good things now and then, but it has nothing to do with doctrine. And that is the problem I have. I already told you what he said. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. That's kind of a bummer. Like, what is he? He's just, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we are incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as in certainty, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Well, using these ship terms, I don't know. Saul, 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 Paul, Paul, Saul, Paul of Tarsus, Paul of Cilicia, Paul, Saul, Saul, Paul. I've been getting mixed messages since this guy came on the scene in Acts. I think it's where he came on the scene. Talking about he's making the Christians prisoners. And he's doing something. I guess God already knew he was going to write the rest of this book. But yeah, God's like, hey, stop doing that. Why are you? He didn't say stop. He goes, why are you doing that? Why are you persecuting my people? And then he went blind. And like, You can say he's a cooperator, he's an apostle, but if you go blind like that, you're pretty scared, and you're going to do whatever you have to do also. And the way he's talking about the law, he's allowed to in here. I don't get it. And now, what do we have to look forward to except the rest written by him? I don't know why it doesn't say he didn't write Hebrews, right? But I'm suspicious because right now we're on page 6. I'm on page 638, and 667 is the epistle of Paul to Philemon, and this is all Paul. The next 40 pages, and then Hebrews. I hope he did not write this. I really do. The epistle to the Hebrews. Well, who wrote it then? Just like Acts, who wrote that? But it wasn't like, it's not like this Paul thing. It's not. So, if anybody wants to help me, why this guy throws out the law, and in some areas, you know, he talks about the commandments. You got to follow the commandments of Jesus. What's that? That he follows his Father's commandments. So can you just break it down, Paul? And I feel very confused by every word that's coming out of his mouth. And I don't like it. So I wish somebody would help me. Whatever.